A spanner in the works of the Hollywood machine as writers walk out. New York's Costume Institute honours a fashion legend and photographer Elliott Erwitt's ironic gaze. That's all coming up in today's show. But first, news from the Cannes Film Festival, which has just announced the makeup of its jury. Filmmaker and two-time winner of the Palme d'Or, Ruben Östlund, had already been named jury president. He'll now be joined by fellow laureate and director Julia Ducournau, American actor and screenwriter Paul Dano, Marvel heroine Brie Larson, and French director Denis Ménochet, as well as Moroccan director Mariam Touzani. Well, they'll also have input from filmmakers from Argentina, Zambia and Afghanistan as they assess the films in competition this year and deliberate over the next recipient of that coveted Golden Palm. And speaking of winners, Michael Douglas will be awarded this year's honorary Palme d'Or at the festival for a career in cinema spanning 6 decades. Next, in Los Angeles, writers have downed tools for the first major strike in 15 years. After failed talks with the major TV, film and streaming networks, the Writers Guild of America went ahead with the strike on Tuesday. The disagreements there centre on issues like pay, mandatory staffing and assurances that creatives won't be replaced with artificial intelligence. Hundreds of writers and actors joined picket lines and marched in front of studio headquarters to hammer home those demands. Here's more from Dope Six showrunner Danny Strong and actor and writer Josh Gad.
The current pay system is outdated, and this should have been addressed 3 years ago. But because of the pandemic, the Writers Guild very graciously chose not to fight this battle because we were all in the middle of a worldwide calamity. So now, in those 3 years, it only blew up into an even bigger issue and even more advantageous to the writers. So now is the moment where we have to put our foot down and say enough is enough. We need a larger share.
As sort of a hybrid here, I'll just speak on behalf of the actor side of me is we are nothing without their words. We have nothing without them. And so it's imperative that we resolve this in a way that benefits the brilliance that comes out of each of these people here today on the page. Because without the page, we have nothing. We have no instruction manual for art.
Now in New York, the annual gala for the Metropolitan Museum's Costume Institute was a pastel-coloured affair, resplendent with magnolia flowers, pearls and monochrome outfits. All of them nods to the late designer Karl Lagerfeld, best known as the creative force behind Chanel for more than 35 years. Indeed, the Institute is also staging an exhibition of his celebrated designs, but that choice has stirred up some controversy due to some of Lagerfeld's attacks on plus-size models and his disdain for the Me Too movement, as James Mulholland explains.
The stars were out in full force at this year's Met Gala in New York, celebrating the late king of couture, Karl Lagerfeld. And many A-listers donned vintage Chanel and pearls, but some took a more feline approach, dressing up to honour Lagerfeld's famously pampered cat, Choupette. But the gala was not without controversy, with critics quick to point out that Lagerfeld, who died in 2019, was known for making offensive comments about migrants and gay couples, as well as dismissing the Me Too movement and fat-shaming women. Model Alliance founder Sarah Ziff condemned the Met's decision.
The choice to honour Lagerfeld embodies the dissonance of an industry that claims to be progressive, that celebrates body positivity and survivors on the one hand, and then reveres figures like Lagerfeld without even acknowledging their regressive views.
It's a choice the Metropolitan Museum is also grappling with as it launches the Costume Institute's spring exhibition, Karl Lagerfeld, A Line of Beauty.
Karl said things that were very funny, very poignant, very insightful, but also very hurtful and controversial, which we don't support, obviously. But I wanted to sort of focus on Karl the designer, and I wanted people to get to know him through his work. I think the vulnerabilities and the contradictions within Karl are there in his work.
The museum hopes visitors will focus on the clothes and Lagerfeld's 7-decade career and not on his sometimes controversial views. The spring exhibition traces Lagerfeld's fashion legacy, notably his revival of the famous Chanel brand in the early 80s.
Now to a photographer who's known for his whimsical street scenes and his talent for capturing the humour in everyday situations. Elliott Erwitt's images are now on show at the Mayol Museum in Paris after a career spent developing his eye in the US, Italy and France. Catherine Viette gives us the lowdown on the 94-year-old photographer's worldview.
Elliott Erwitt is a fan of cigars, dogs, and offbeat humor. His signature style, seeking the extraordinary within the ordinary.
It's witty, it's bubbly, it's full of color. They're funny photos.
For the past 70 years, Erwitt has photographed a wide range of subjects. A member of the famed Magnum photo agency, he shot ads, portraits, family and street photos, all with that quirky irony.
It's smart, it's brilliant, it shows a sharp eye.
It shows the whole reality, but there is a focus on small elements that are very significant.
It's very human.
He photographs people, and especially dogs, his favorite subject. To help capture the unposed moment, Erwitt employs a secret weapon.
The horn is to make people laugh a little and to pay attention, and the dog perks up its ears when it honks.
Like man's best friend, Erwitt is not known for being overly talkative.
He's very tight-lipped, a man of few words. He says his photos are like a story of magic, and magic is like humor. When you try to explain it, it disappears.
To help understand Erwitt's process, contact sheets are also on display, like this set that captures the famous meeting between Richard Nixon and Nikita Khrushchev.
All of a sudden, something unexpected happens. It starts with this. It's not very interesting. Then he moves a bit, he turns, and yes, and then boom.
An image that's become iconic, like this portrait of JFK, Charles de Gaulle, Che Guevara, and Marilyn Monroe. More than 200 photos are on view at the Mayol Museum through mid-August.
Next to Africa's biggest urban music festival, which just wrapped up in Ivory Coast. Femua was founded in 2008 by musicians themselves, the Ivorian pop group Magic System, who wanted to show off the rich diversity of sub-Saharan cities and their musical landscapes. This year's event drew nearly 100,000 visitors to Abidjan and Bouaké. Our team of reporters were there too and sent us this report.
The 15th edition of the Femua Music Festival packed beyond capacity. 35,000 excited teenagers flocked to this site in Abidjan, far exceeding expectations. They all came to see their idol, the French rapper Booba.
I love Booba. I love Ivorian rap. I love French rap. We're all so happy to be here at Femua.
And there's little wonder. Entry to this festival is free, and it brings together international stars who most locals would otherwise never be able to see. Alongside the French rap star, there's also Senegal's Baba Mal, Roselyne Layo from Ivory Coast, Congolese singer Ferregola, and Centrinos Raphael from Togo, this year's special guest. Femua is also a great opportunity for emerging artists. Africa is a land full of talent, and that's why Booba launched his record label 92IA in 2021.
The label aims to discover new artists and develop talent, like I do in France, like I did for myself. We want to promote music, create jobs, and make money for talented young people who don't necessarily have other opportunities.
Femua also offers work opportunities and training, a source of pride for the festival's organizers, the Ivorian Afro-pop group Magic System.
This is very important for us. It allows young people to discover new things and learn new skills. Some manage to sign up on platforms, others have even managed to find work.
Magic System has been a force for change in Ivory Coast through myriad social initiatives. And with Femua, it continues to bring in major artists, which has made the festival a mainstay on the international music calendar.
And finally, to an exhibition that brings some of contemporary architecture's boldest creations to the gallery space, as the Pompidou Centre here in Paris celebrates the work of Norman Foster. The Pritzker Prize-winning British architect is known for his high-tech creations around the world, which always underline the relationship between nature and the built environment. He's undertaken major projects here in France, in Marseille, Nîmes and Millau, to name just a few. We'll leave you with a glimpse of that show. Otherwise, you can get more arts and culture on our website, our social media channels too. There's more news coming up on France 24 just after this.